Have I gone far enough? No, I haven't. I haven't gotten this thing running perfect. Do I quit on it now? I think I've gone too far to quit at this point. How much deeper do I go into it? From a financial perspective, I don't know. But nonetheless, let's roll today's footage. Thank you for being here. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. And thank you for making these videos go in the algo, because there's been quite an uptick lately in getting those things out to the algo. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much. Here we go. I'm messing with the old dump truck called the Cumster. It's got a 5.9 12 valve Cummins in it, 93, so it's old. Been messing with this one, but this one's looking like it's pretty ironed out. That's a 2007-3, and I've got this odd rule, and this truck has made it official. Like this truck has absolutely made it official. If you buy a used old truck, like an old truck, like 20 years old, whatever your buy price is, you can double it. You can pretty much double it. So anyway, I've been chasing fuel issues, had to pump air through the system. We'll see if this runs. It's really just a test run here. See if this thing's gonna go. Got an assistant. What's up, babe?
Hey, baby.
Think it's gonna go?
I hope so.
I hope so. I hope it goes. We shall see. If it does run, we're gonna run the hell out of it. So the issue that I've had with this thing is the fuel. Like, it only has 135,000 miles. I bought it with 134, and it's literally taken me this long, like, I don't know, maybe 90 days I've had this, 100 days, to get to 1,000 miles, because I've had to keep messing with it. But ultimately, I think it was all really basic and simple. It sat for a long time. It's probably sat a lot of its life, because it's a 1993. It only has 135,000 miles. It does have like 8,900 hours on it, at least last the gauge was working, it did. So that kind of tells me that it sat for a long time. The tanks, I dropped them, they were rusty, full of nasty fuel. There was water in there. So water goes to the bottom and fuel, so you'll have like, if you have a tank that sits for a while, any moisture that gets in there, any rain, anything like that, will just sit on the bottom. And what happened is it rusted the bottom of the tanks, and then I was getting all this sediment, and it was just clogging filter after filter. And then I thought, oh, we'll add an extra filter to it to help like filter this fuel. And I think it was too hard for it to suck through, because this thing doesn't have an external like air dog pump or fast pump or anything like that. And so I think our issue was, it could have all been solved by, a lot of time could have been solved by just take the old tanks off, put a new tank on, and call it done. I think that probably would have been it. But we'll know. We're just coming up to operating temperature here, so we're gonna go run the hell out of it and see if it clogs down out of fuel. And if it doesn't, then it was that extra filter we threw on it. And yeah, maybe this year we can get a ton of miles on this thing. Go ahead and show yourself and like the truck, and then you can go out the window with it, or you know, type of stuff. This is like right about where it's been running out of fuel after it's been like under full throttle for a good 7 or 10 seconds. And it's really bad if it has a load or a trailer on it. And so far, on that run, it seems to have liked it. Yeah, I think that extra filter was our problem. What do you think?
I think so.
That's good. And so things I've learned on this truck and previous old trucks that we've done, like we did R1, which I'll show you guys, R1. That was a 1994 7.3 manual international. It was a cool truck. This one's a 93 12 valve automatic Allison dump truck, way more useful than the other one was. Had to do tires, had to do brakes, had to do like the regular maintenance. Came with good oil actually, haven't done the oil yet, but the fuel was the biggest problem with this one. R1, the problem with R1 was it was a bad clutch and it needed tires and it needed brakes. And so I've kind of found that to be true on all the older stuff that I found is like, if you put a set of a big semi tires on, like was what these things take, they'll last 100,000 miles, but they're also $3,000. And so a truck like this, I think I bought for $7,000 and taxes and tag was like $8,000. So like on an $8,000 truck, it's got $3,000 in tires, but it's good for 100,000 miles. So I could drive this thing to 220, 225, 230 before I even have to think about it. So if I were to keep this for 100,000, I would certainly get my money out of it. The fuel thing was really frustrating. And then I had to do some brake work. I did some hydraulic work on the dump. It's kind of like an old, I mean, it's just kind of how it goes with an old piece of machinery, where you buy it for $8,000, and then if you can put in like less than $8,000 to get it good, maybe you have almost a perfect truck at 16, hopefully less than that, but maybe 15. You've got new tires, new brakes, great fuel tanks. I have new belts on this, I have new pulleys, all that stuff. The only thing that is missing at this point, because it looks like we've solved all mechanical issues, is the AC doesn't work properly, which even if it does work, it's not going to be perfect because it's an old truck. And it's cosmetically sort of ugly. The tires are making it look nice, but cosmetically it needs some love. So if we do decide to keep this thing long term, which I think at this point I'm in it enough where I kind of have to run it for a bunch of miles to really like feel like, oh no, we're going down? Was it going down?
Sounded like it.
It sounded like it was going down, right?
It did.
Let's see. It's on second. Maybe it's still good. I don't know. We have to put a load on it, I suppose, tomorrow and figure it out. But either way, we're chasing fuel as an issue. We're chasing fuel, so before we get too far from the ranch, probably turn around back and see if we get there. And yeah, she's wanting to bog on me again. Maybe we haven't solved it. That's how these things go. Yeah, she's going down, and she's down. So we're down. So now we're running the electric. Run on that coast life. Man, we should have stopped a few houses ago, but I'm glad that we broke it because now we know it's broken.
It's not fixed.
It's not fixed. It's not fixed. It did run longer than last time, though.
It did.
Yeah, it did run longer than last time. Well, this is a good spot to break down right here, I suppose. Let's see here. About the 12 valve 5.9. It's got a little pumper ball on the side, which I might change to an air dog pump or like a fast. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm doing. I just want to fix this fuel issue and figure out what the deal is. So see if she cranks after the pumpage. And that's what I do love about the 5.9 12 valve, because I just can't get that fuel to suck through, right? So it's got to be sucking through somewhere bad. Yeah. So anyway, we'll we got an air bubble. It's possible. I kind of feel like I have a lift pump going out, and it's just like not wanting to like suck fuel at lower RPMs because the pump works off of the engine. So I don't know. One of you guys will know in the comments. One of you will be right, and then when it goes to the mechanic and comes back properly working, we'll know because the truck's tapping me out. So back here in the office cabin, I got home, pumped it, no big deal, ran for a good 2 miles for me, no big deal. Same symptoms I'm having. I get back, I let it idle for 2 minutes, dies. Now if I pump it when it's running, sometimes I can get what I feel like is enough suction using those RPMs where it just kind of like, it builds up and then it's fine. It like fills the fuel bowl and then just it's good for a little bit until it has a symptom again. So I guess the good thing is it's probably reliable enough to go to the mechanic. But the bad thing is I haven't figured out what's going on with this. But another positive, the 5.912 valve, if you have an issue with it, you just get out, pump that side of the ball, and it just rolls. It'll go. Like, it'll move, at least. Because the one downside to a mid-sized truck, is towing it. You don't really want to have a tow bill on a midi. That's the one downside to it. But as opposed to what else could I use for tractor type of work, F350 dump truck would be pretty convenient. I could run like the stump grinder, like that'd be a perfect truck, would be an F350. Haven't found any of them, so I really like that size. And when I do land clearing projects, it's hard not to love the F700. You can just put whatever in it, it will dump anything. You get, probably 8 yards of dirt in there, maybe 10 yards of dirt. It'll dump it, no big deal. I haven't pushed it further than that because I don't totally trust this thing yet. You have an idea on what you think it might be, let me know in the comments. Without skewing your opinion, I think it's lift pump related. I don't think it's drawing enough fuel. The reason I say that is I put pressured air, I basically put the air compressor on the tank, and I cracked the line, and it was flowing through that line no problem. So I don't think I have a problem with that line. I don't think anything's clogging that line. I did it after the filter, and I threw air through the line, and I had plenty of fuel coming out, going into the can. So I'm like, okay, so I put the whole thing back together, and I think when it has that extra push through, it's filling itself no problem. One theory I have is that the tank is a little low right now, and that's just not, it's grabbing air pockets in that tank. But when it's sitting there at idle and it doesn't run, I'm like, it's not quite good. And it's not, you just can't trust it at this point in time. The problem I've had with the middies, the mid-sized trucks, is it's always been purchase price times 2. First midi was a 1991 GMC Top Kick. It was just a regular cab, long flatbed, put a gooseneck on it, new tires, new brakes, all that stuff. It was a manual. And the thing just ran for us. I bought it for $5,000. I put $5,000 in it. I wrapped it for another like $2,000 or $1,500, something like that. And that truck just ran. And unfortunately, it was T-boned. I made it out alive, but the truck did not. And I mean, it bent the frame. The dude that hit me. He was doing like 60, and I was just pulling out. Yeah, it was. I was literally standing there on the road, basically, like in the truck. I was just idling there on the road, and then it slammed right into me. And then that truck went. So I was like, man, this thing had so many miles left in it, The next one I had was a 1994 International with a 7.3 5-speed. And price, I think I bought that thing for like $6,000. It's embarrassing how much I put into that truck. I don't even know. It's like that. I put at least 10 in it because I fabricated a lot of the bed. I put a cool new bed on it. It was originally a crane truck. I was too far off. So if you're gonna do one of these projects, commit to it. And then the problem with that truck was I could never get there was always this orangey tint in the coolant. And no matter how many times the coolant was changed, it always had this orangey tint. Well, it ended up being rust. I put a huge load on the back of it, like 2 machines, like it was like a skid steer and a mini excavator on a gooseneck. It was legal, but it was heavy for the load. And anyway, I thought I blew the head gasket, and I was like, well, that's weird for a 7.3. But no, I blew a small hole in the block. And so anyway, from there on out, it was like milky, and the block was bad. And so at that point, it was like, do I put another engine in this thing at a cost of like $4, $5, $6,000, $7,000? Just depends if you want to be brand new, if you want to get a long block, short block, high, labor, like which made sense. But the truck was just a tow. It was just a tow pig. It was just, it was a tow pig. That's all it was. So I was like, well, sold that truck. And what I found and what I learned in that experience was if you buy these larger trucks, you want to buy them with blown engines. Because I got out of that truck for like $4,000. Like I got out of that thing for like basically tires. And I had to because I just had nowhere to keep it at the time, and I wasn't going to be towing anything that heavy. And I got the Sex Max at that point in time. So I got a 2006 Duramax, like the Transformer truck, which is my dream truck at that point. And then I swapped that thing out. Did pretty well in the Sex Max. Bought it for 32, sold it for 32, drove it for a little while. It was good. And then you know, I've had pickup trucks, and I found my old 7.3, which is awesome. I found this dump truck, and what I've found with the older trucks is I bought the 7.3 back for $8,500. I put at least $8,500 in it so far. But no, maybe not quite $8,500 in it, but I'm going to. By the time I'm done painting it and stuff, it'll be pretty nice. New interiors going in that thing. It'll be pretty nice. And it's smaller and more manageable. But these larger mid-sized trucks, you know, if you're going to get into these things, try to reduce your cost. Like reduce the amount of cash that you have in it. I don't know. I really don't have anything. Like I've got to sit back and like really think through the mid-sized trucks. It's been a real joy. It's I'm at that spot in the truck where it's like, have I gone far enough? No, I haven't. I haven't gotten this thing running perfect. Do I quit on it now? I think I've gone too far to quit at this point. For being here, thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing, and thank you for making these videos go in the algo, because there's been quite an uptick lately in getting those things out to the algo. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much. Here we go.